Everybody, let's get started for today. Monday. Excellent. How's everybody doing today? Let's get right into our favorite chart, Bitcoin. Start with the cryptos. Absolutely. Welcome. Shout out to the chat. Just want to let everybody know, 11:30ish or so every day. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to get the notifications. And here's where we left off on Thursday, folks, which was type 1 sloppy reaction from last week that hit target 1. I think we were all pretty good on that. And then came back for the type 2. And there's really confirmation in two places, there and there. This is an hourly chart. So you're in business on Bitcoin for what I said last week, which would be start the move up to target 2. But what has happened between now and Thursday, or Thursday and now, which is several days, long weekend, beautiful bat pattern right in this consolidation. It's going sideways, not going up, not making progress in the way that you would want to see. And then you form a bearish pattern after a bullish. We know how those back-to-backs go. You got a bullish pattern here that started at least some stabilization, and then now we have a bearish pattern, and we're in the type 1 reaction. So it's like this, okay? There's a reaction off the bearish pattern. Come back for a retest. If Bitcoin comes up and gets rejected, let's say, I really do think it'll come back, minimum retest to that target 1, that prior target 1 that's relevant. You didn't get there on the first time. So that could be setting up where you need the retest, and then this kind of just goes sideways, grinds higher, but mostly sideways. And then let's look at what happens at 38,871. I really think that's an important number. It's the prior high. Yes, it's the target 1 minimum, maybe as high as 39,444. And this could fall, try to make a run at 40 and fall shy. But a lot of things going on here with back-to-back patterns, hourly basis, not making progress off of this low that says, okay, longer this takes, the longer it will take. If you don't take out certain targets by certain number of bars, certain other basic metrics, then you have to assume the larger trend is still dominating. It's going to take more time. That's what Bitcoin's saying. Let's jump over to totals. Total market cap. Okay, that's, we thought Bitcoin didn't look great. Your total crypto market cap, what has that done? Not much for anyone. You have been stuck in this range between 150, 170, 1.5 to 1.7 trillion. No progress, not. In fact, what you see is a lot of the same. The first couple of weeks here go sideways at the end of the year into early January, then down. Total crypto market cap doing another sideways action. And then what? Down again, one more time. Not much on the daily. Check it out. The only thing I would trace out here, if we're connecting dots at this point, if you're looking for a real nice M-shaped development, M-shaped pattern, B point is at a 56.5. Pretty much sets up a bat pattern. in most cases. I mean, you might have a Gartley combination, but you're really talking BAT. Your ABCD minimums line up there at 1.33 trillion. Not to mention, look, this last B2C leg, think of it this way. B2C, pretty nasty in terms of being weak, not constructive. Correction in December then leads to a minimum 1618, which is right about there, 1.6. Think of it that way. Your 1.6 trillion is the 1618, and that's absolutely something to think about going into, say, the last several weeks. Yep, I'll go to the monthly charts. Someone's saying, what about monthly charts? Because we're at the end of the month. I agree. Because look at your monthlies. Even if you just, let's just take all of it off. Where's your monthly? I mean, we can just kind of call it out for what the individual close is going to look like tonight in about what, 7 hours? First month of the year close, fairly nasty candle. We were above 2 trillion to start the month. Now firmly, threatening 1.5, where our 886, even on this, the going back to last June, um, your 886, folks, is 1.33 trillion. And then maybe we get say a 382 like that to a 50 bounce, something like that, maybe back to 2 trillion. And this is how this year could turn out, something like that, and then come back up where, yeah, I try to form maybe a right shoulder up here, maybe even come up higher. All depends on how much we settle down here. What are we going to do in February? Remember last February? No, wasn't that great for Bitcoin? Look at where we are relative even the last 3 months. This is something else that is concerning. You always want to recognize a 3 bar reversal, meaning what are the last 3 bars? 1, 2, 3. Okay, what's the prior low of that range? Well, 1.93. You're well below that. You're failed that 3 bar range. Okay, so that's a steep correction of this last uptrend where I would need to see some more. Even on your monthly time frame, look, your amplified is under the 50 level. I think the weekly, just simply due to the number of bars that you need, is important. Not to mention, look at I think we mentioned this. We did have this bearish ABCD pattern a while back. That target 2 off that pattern was about 1.646. So looking at all of that, if this was any other pattern, if this was like a 5-minute pattern or any kind of a stock or whatever, I would be looking for simply HSI to trigger on the weekly basis. Look how deep HSI is down there. You are certainly at the other end of oversold measures, which is a lot better than, say, where you were a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. You have hit the inflection of the oversold reading on amplified RSI. You are trying to come out of that zone. It hasn't done it yet, but trying to. But HSI is still deep oversold. You're under 0. You're a negative reading on HSI, which is still extremely oversold. But I would want to see that pop out, then trigger. It's almost as bad. No, it is. It's worse than 2020 readings. And that's something that is, when you're that low, sure, that's a deep oversold, almost exhaustive, but you have to wait for it to trigger. It could spend a little more time in there. So that's part of the problem with current situation. Let's look at total DeFi because I think that's a good secondary perspective. And look, same ABCD. Maybe you go to 900 billion on, sorry, the 900, what was it? 90 billion on your weekly target too. Same kind of a setup with Bitcoin, and go to the daily or the 4 hour. You just triggered some oversold readings that have confirmed. Good thing about this is you do have a complex structure. This W formation looks like this. You just draw out like a W in your RSI reading. This is amplified RSI, but still we look for that as a reactive move back up to the 50 level. HSI checked back triggered, gives you a bullish candle today. That's a very good sign. I mean, for at least to try to stop the grind, the lower grind, you have a lot of work to do. So you better start now, or you're just going to kind of restart the whole process. I mean, it's, if you're not trying to bang out some lows here and you're going to want to go lower, you're going to have to go through 3 or 4 different things before you can even think about this as another opportunity if you don't hold here, or at least come up, give me some corrective move off of this low, like the Bitcoin crab pattern. Then amplified will come back and retest like that, maybe in a few weeks, mid-month before President's Day weekend, something like that, and then get going. That would be your preferred scenario. With the markets at least stabilizing, it's better than it was, again, a week or 10 days ago. A lot going on. I think you can look at we'll look at Ethereum in a second, but this type of thing, and your last several days, spent the weekend not getting crushed. You go to your monthly close here. This is something for total DeFi where, okay, it looks bad, but damage not nearly as severe. You haven't violated the 3 bar low on DeFi, which is at 105 billion. And you have the possibility to maybe pop up. You'd have to pop a little bit. You'd have to pop maybe 1-2%. Get back above last month's low. That would be real significant. That would make this candle look pretty severe, but more like just a reaction, and then set up for some kind of response, some return, maybe another sideways month, and then go. But at least you're trying to bang in some kind of floor here at 100 billion. Think about it. Keep an eye on that one. As much as total crypto market cap, and I still say, even though I'm going over Ethereum and Bitcoin and those cryptos, it is still about those other alts. I'll go to those in a second, but here's Ethereum. The nice thing about Ethereum, something I mentioned a while back, is that we did a complex formation here. Coming down on the monthly, we will get that close, and we hit the 50 level, the midpoint level. What will happen tomorrow or tonight in your monthly bar is you will start to get a red line will go on right here because your 50 line went on. That would mean I would start looking for this to try to stabilize at some point in the next bar, 2 bars. Watch for it and then commence the return, which makes this on a monthly not potentially as bad as it seems. you're still at a critical, super critical spot. Also, take note, this one, Ethereum at 2675.78 is threatening, the prior 3 bar low. You have you can go to the 4 bar, but I don't really do that. It's 3 bar. It's 3 bar or no bar. I mean, we don't stretch it to 4 or 5 bar, but you are trying to hold this 2650 level, the real critical level. I think for the prior month was 2955. No way you close that gap by tonight, but let's see what kind of damage this is on a monthly going into the follow through of next week with this bar. They threw it down. You don't remember, we were 2200 not too long ago, 2160, looking for a swing 886 at around 1900, but monthly's registered. What the weekly do? Let's see what the weekly is. Where is the weekly? So the weekly is oversold, and it's hit the oversold zone. Green line's gone off, and you're finally coming out of the zone. I think I mentioned this Thursday. Better progress on the weekly. I think you could have a really nice breakout above 2720 if you could get going. That would mean this was fairly exhaustive, but still just a reaction. I would just this thing is, in terms of this being bullish, it's bullish in 2 ways. One, it has stopped the collapse, the 50% correction so far that has really consumed Ethereum since November, with finally a week or trying to make progress over the prior week's high for the first time and not make a prior week low, where you could at least get a 382. And that would be still okay. I mean, you would be within a lot of the kind of the consolidation, but maybe you just go up to a 382, which is 3200, and come back down. That's not out of the question. Let's take it Luna, Solana, because there's a lot to learn from those. I've been liking Luna. I've been looking at it. We outlined a few things down that were lower. I think our original targets were 56, and then we were looking for that as low as 56, or got to 52, 48 level. We were saying somewhere around that 48, 50 level, maybe 52. You're 51 right now. You tried to sell it off a little bit over the weekend down to 45, but keep your eye on it. I think it's close. There's the daily HSI that triggered, which helps the situation, and you checked back. Now, there's the HSI. It checks back within 2 bars and then gives you a green candle. It's a pretty good sign. Linked up with amplified. It's a tough read. There are a couple patterns. Go to the 4-hour chart. You've got a few patterns here. Oh, come on back. Where'd it go? There it was. There's a couple of, remember the Gartley way back then? It popped to 89 or 87, and we dumped out, and thank God now, right? Came all the way back. Hop was 54 or 52 because we had another pattern. And then consolidation bump back down, one more crab. It's around $50, maybe as low as 43.50, but this is major stuff. Keep an eye on that one. I mean, that might even be worth a shot. You get back down to 53. Keep an eye. Solana's the other one. There you go. Amazing that this one as well. They've all these high flyers have done minimum 50, 60% haircuts. That's why anyone that isn't or hasn't gone through a 50% haircut, I'm a little suspect. Cosmos, for example. We'll get to a couple of those, but yeah, no, let's take a look. Really, Solana's just this. I've been talking about two possibilities: a larger 886 off that top, just from last June. What's going on here? There's your B point, basically 43%. It's not the nicest of bat patterns, I gotta say. And your full 886 on Solana is down at what, 40 bucks or something, 42, I think. There you go, 44. So keep an eye on this. This could be just one little bounce. At least it's, something for now. Uh I don't have anything on Solana just yet, but the larger point that, come on back, this was, up here. Solana's 250. Now you're 100. If we could get a flush, folks, and get a flush in something like that, that would be really nice. The other way that I would look at Solana is, and a lot of these other high flying coins that were, basically outpacing the rest of the market, which are now in this corrective phase. Well, maybe they're going to do like a 1618 offshoot where you have your XA move off the top and then do a throwdown, like just a sharp kind of straight corrective move down, 1618 maximum off of this last move. That's just, this is reminiscent of several coins that we've seen, ones that were going to be, that we're going to go from $1 straight to 20. Take a look at this. So where's Sand? Metaverse, right? There's Sandbox on the daily. I mean, this is could be a really nice Gartley if it can connect off of, go back to the November lows, but something like this would not be a bad thought. Look, that B point was at a 618 pretty nicely. You do have an ABCD configuring here, but what happens is your A to B, your C to D, that needs to be lower to satisfy that full contingent, that proper alignment. And that's, you're down around 886 level, around 266. You brush that almost perfectly. This would be your reaction. Maybe you pop up and then come back down for a retest. Still needs time, but again, that was 8. Your 886 was at 275. That was the low. One or two more that are like this. Take a look. Here's Cosmos, because a lot of people have asked me about that. All right. Oh, Cosmos got crushed over the weekend. So Cosmos was one that was banging against 40, could not get higher than 44, registered a few things. Now you're just coming back, and again, this is something where this is going to be a major event. It's going to take some time. And you're going to have to probably clear out that low back at 20. So these are not in a spot where they're putting together any kind of a ramp up to run. I think you're gonna come back and I think retest the obvious levels of support resistance, especially static levels. I mean, look at this static prior highs, prior lows get retested. And again, it's like your median average of the whole move, really. It's straight in the middle. Come back, retest that level, maybe down at what's that, 21. You're currently 28. That was a high flyer. Some of these you have to retire. Versus, okay, other ones that are, here's something. Where did that go? Here's FTM. This was another one that ran into a couple of peaks. Okay, still, this one's got, because few people ask me about this. Sure, definitely. What was a high flyer that needs to come back and check itself, quite frankly, in a shark pattern. FTM, kind of like this. X, and look how tight that X ABC configuration is. That sets you up to throw down for a 1618 886 convergence, folks. 135, 136 on FTM. Here's one that has done quite well, but probably just going to go back to retest the prior resistance, 230, 220, but at least this thing has held fairly well. This might be, from a trading perspective, probably some of your better shots of well-defined resistance. Right there, 230 on KNC. Not to mention, now you go back and just the static lows. This could be Cardano. This could be so many of these, where from 120, 130 to 230, that's a great trade. Beyond that, you'd have to wait and see. I mean, your best hope, something like that would on KNC here would be, does it, finally come up to the 50 line and then break out and then go to the 886, do a BAM, bat action magnet move up to $4. That would be your better scenario, but I would say there's a lot of work that has to happen before you could even realize that. Bitcoin popping a little bit, up almost 600 at 38.5. The audio is better than usual. I've just boosted the levels a little bit. Sure, I'll look at Hex. Why not, right? For all the Hex people. I know, Hexicans. I don't trade it. I don't have it. I don't have access to it, but here's your Hex. What's that? It's like it's the hedge against Bitcoin. At least you're down at a daily HSI reading. You're oversold. Clearly, green line went off. That's a very good sign. You're oversold. Green line went off. What does that mean? It's confirmation. This prior amplified RSI reading was lower than that. Successful retest here. Now you want to see that break out with that HSI. You need a couple of days. This is where a 2-3 day, a 3-bar reversal would really help you. This is where a bullish candle above the prior 3 bars, say above 19.6, 20 something, anything cents, would be real helpful. Otherwise, no. If you don't do it, let's say you spend a couple more days going sideways, then you probably go back and retest the lows again. It's about the 886. I mean, we can trace out this type of formation for Hex. It's not really a pretty M or W. Why? Because your B point's at a 66, 67%. So it doesn't really give you a Gartley or a bat. I mean, if it really broke down, it would give you a crab pattern way down lower. And that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying at a minimum, you're probably going to just retest the 886 at 14 because you're not. If you cannot get off this low here, you're just going to grind. And grind for a while. You're going to try to find that support level where no one wants to sell anymore, but it's going to have to really work itself out. I can't explain it other than that, where, yeah, you have to go through a different kind of price discovery now. You have to find out where the real support, the real buyers and sellers are, not the fluff. Where's the real stuff? The real people that are going to be involved with this stuff, like, like Luna. If this thing's going to be the real NFT paradise, whatever, Ethereum killer, Solana killer, whatever killer, you know, where is the real demand? Are you going to hold that uptrend? Are is the long-term support of buyers, investors, holders going to be maintained and continue to ride that average, that progressive average? Because if not, and you break down here, well, then that means most of that is fluff. That's like Bitcoin and the rest of them on their long-term uptrends. Bitcoin is really asking everyone, or at least it's posing the question, how real is it? How real is Bitcoin, folks? And in terms of what we want to look for, that started, I guess, 2020 is probably the real point. And even then, you still haven't hit the uptrend line on that. Maybe you go sideways for several more weeks or many weeks and then hit the trend up here and go. But how real is it, and where's the real demand? Where's the real uptrending demand of long-term Bitcoin holders and buyers that are going to stay with this? They better support this uptrend. So there's still time. I mean, just no doubt about it. There's going to be take weeks, if not the better part of many months, early months of this year, to bang out this support area where we could go to 40, 42,000 and then slam back down. Find yourself, hitting that 30 button before this thing can really establish something. Definitely a lot going on. I mean, I don't want to overkill on Bitcoin. I'll look at a couple more of those SNX or AMP because I would love to see opportunity in the other coins. I'd love to see this thing branch out. I think even from a larger perspective of what, for me as a trader in this space, to stay in this space, I need to see less rug pull. I need to see less spike run. I need to see more uptrend, retracement, extension behavior like you see in Solana or Luna. I'm okay that it's retraced 60%, but it's like when you get something like this where, your top 100 or 200 coins all tend to do this kind of thing where you go up, then back down to your 886, and then you go up, but maybe not as high the next time, 50%, and then back down to your 886. That gets real tiresome. You really, you're better off trading oil, copper, some orange juice, something cyclical like that. SNX, hey, you're at a cycle low at an 886 pivot. Basically, $5 is the big number, that you're fighting here for this cycle to renew. Went down as low. What was that low? 4 something? Ooh, 350. Now 566. That's the tough part about crypto because, hey, I could have thought this was a buy. Oh, I picked it up at 490 and it went to 670. Oh, and then decides to lose half its value again. That's a penny stock going to a penny. In my book, if that was any other stock market, a stock symbol, that's the problem with this. So you're at these big 886 inflection points. $5 is the big number to consider. I think you've got weeks to hammer this out. If you like it and you think it's something, project that whatever you were waiting to get into, this would be a place. Certainly be looking at it, but don't expect it. Two things. Don't expect it to moon. And second, if it does double or triple, let's say it does a 50% correction, for goodness sakes, please take profit, please. Because the chance of this thing to come right back on your butt after that is so likely that, unless there's some major development in Bitcoin, but this is the problem with the Bitcoin situation. If Bitcoin's going to take more time, altcoins are going to take a lot more time before you can get major moves. You will get 20, 50%, or even doubles, but you're not going to get this 10x moves like you had last year. And if that's the case, then you're going to go sideways for a couple more years, 2 years, 3 years, to try to hodl. Hey, let's jump over to other markets. Let's look at Tesla. I talked about this last week, and let me bring up the here was the Tesla chart from last week, folks, or 2 weeks ago. Last week, my fault. Perfect type 1 came back down. Screaming type 2 got as low as 795, exploded off that hop level. Okay, hop level on that chart again was the 4-hour chart was 838. Look what happens when it hits. It's right here. So you're now looking for this to come back. Target 2 at 10, 15, 14. Now trading 945. Easy. 15,000 on Bitcoin if it shark activates. I'm okay with that. I just think it's going to take more time. You're not going to miss out on anything, is my point. And I've been saying all along, I would rather participate in the altcoins. You're going to get those to run much more likely to double or triple an altcoin than Bitcoin to double anytime soon. In terms of stocks, Tesla, perfect example here, folks. This is the kind of thing we want to see over and over again. So target that, 1015, 1014 is the exact number. Let's look at one or two more. I did want to pull up Amazon. Same one. I mean, look what's good. That's doing off of its chart. Where was that chart? Was it an hourly? $27.50. I don't know where my this is kind of strange. Where's the pattern? I had the pattern on here. Maybe I don't know why this is a 2-hour chart, but there's a crab here, deep crab here. Basically 27.80. And that triggered last week, folks, and you're still getting out of the zone where target 1 is 32.29, 32.30. 2-hour chart on Amazon. So that still bodes well for NASDAQ in general, stocks in general. Bitcoin, indirectly. I think so. I mean, those are two of the biggest ones. The other one, big one, right? Microsoft. Not doing much today, but dropped right into that big bat PRZ. Let me see, bring it over. Was right here. I must be missing something. Large, small. I am. See, I'm missing a setting. I have two smalls. I bet this is a regular pattern. MW, a large. It should be there. Let me see here. Huh. Not sure why that's not popping. It did pop before. I think I had it on a 4 hour. We can do it on a daily. It's you know, pretty severe bat pattern, and your 886 was 288 to 290. Beautiful type 1. I would be looking at this thing like this. Come up, down to the D point, up to 382 level. Pretty much where you are. Maybe as high as the 50 level. Come back down, retest that D, and then really go. But Microsoft, Amazon, Google, I posted that this morning. Check out Google. This is all pretty big stuff right there. There's Google on a type 2. The hop was 25.65. I'd be targeting 29. 26.65 at the, well, that was this morning. So these are all in a really nice position. Think about how nasty everything was 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. And I think that's absolutely the difference you're seeing where you do have patterns. You didn't have patterns 10 days ago. You didn't have at least completed patterns. And then you see Amazon and the others that are finally giving you major signals, and they're going to at least do reactions. They will lift the whole market. So let's be mindful of that. Let's really quick, I want to show the oil chart. Here's UK oil. This is a big bat pattern that we know is getting fairly ugly. And oil looks strong. Today, it's pulling back a little bit. Again, I think we'll get a pause here. Let's see what happens into Thursday. But you're already flirting with above the 90 mark. Both of these, light sweet, Brent, even though they trade at slightly different price levels, several dollars difference, it's all about the $100 level. With this pattern, it's, again, some bearish patterns currently. Absolutely. We talked about last week. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Other than we could probably see a pause for now. Maybe it takes a little bit more time. It's still on a steep uptrend as long as this line. Okay, there's your uptrend. It's like that. Remember what I was saying about Bitcoin, where the long-term uptrend needs to continue? It's kind of like that. It's kind of like testing the uptrend like that. You need to continue. Crude oil, same deal. You're already above 2019 highs. Why that's so significant? Those were the first peaks off of after the crash or initial crash low from 2014, 2015. And there's only a couple of static points. You're already above the first static point, which was really $80. Maybe say 85, but again, we're just seeing a lot of static long-term points get targeted, especially once you clear the level pretty aggressively. It doesn't take much to say, next set of prior resistance peaks are 115, 120, all-time peak 147. And I mentioned this as well, folks, and I think this is more of what to be considering. This is any of the crude markets, but we can pretty much say that these are all shark patterns. Big shakeout. If it was CL, because that went negative, it would be all the way down like there. But with Brent, it still had that shakeout. And then you go to your 1618, 886 level. You're putting together a shark at 133, 134. So even though we pause here, maybe we pull back $1, a couple bucks, I expect this thing to continue on this rope here. If something changes and it breaks down, we'll see it well before a larger breakdown can happen. But that's your scenario. And crude oil, if that continues up, if tech is going to give you a reaction up, then the markets, yeah, we talked about someone saying you want ETFs. The ETFs and the SPY and the, as we talked about on Thursday, they were all in a position of bouncing too, and that's exactly what's happening. I mean, your SPY on the daily 4-hour time frame, again, after doing nice reaction on target 2, that's it. Coming back. Where's the 4-hour though? Where was that? We'll keep an eye on this one because I'll come back and look at this tomorrow. But the takeaway is that I think this week you have a nice recovery. At least regain maybe 50% of what happened just in the last 2 weeks of this past month. Wouldn't be much of a stretch, and then it'd seem a lot easier, right? You come up, maybe do something like this. Come up to the 50 again. Go to your 50 level at 450. That's still another few points higher. Come back down, and then back up for another bat or something. Definitely want to be mindful that this correction for now could be about it. With if something larger is going to happen, it'll happen later. Your indicators have turned around. They're all starting to accelerate. The other thing that's happening here with the SPY that I think I mentioned on Thursday, the fact that you got out of this oversold zone, you're now at the 50. This is a 4-hour chart. So you want to go above the 50 and get the acceleration. Why? Once you get above the 50, you usually go from 50 to retest the prior extreme in half the distance, twice the distance, half the time. Meaning, you went from here to here, 420 to 440, and basically 10 bars. Maybe you go from 440 to 480 in 5 bars, 6 bars, maybe over the next 2 days. It's the way it's shaping up. So at least that's in a better spot, relative spot than it was. Am I waiting for the 30K on Bitcoin? Yeah, I would. Although I think right now we're just bouncing off the 886. We did hit the 886 on Bitcoin, so you're bouncing, which is a good sign for starters, but I think like everything else, you're just reaction territory. Yeah. There's a lot there. I mean, there's absolutely a few different things to consider with the larger market. At least you're not in a downdraft like you were a week ago, 10 days ago. And that should at least help crypto. Yeah, here's AVAX. Avalanche. Someone's asking for Avalanche. Is another high flyer, best of breed, so to speak. But where's it going to go? What's it going to do? I mean, here's the June swing, and it went from 10 to 140. That's amazing. Even off of your October low here, you could say maybe you got a Gartley going on. What's my 618? Nope, my 618 doesn't match up. My B point's at like a 73. That's not really in position for what you would want to see. You'd have to drag it back probably to take a look at what's off of the September low. Yes, you can do that, and you're still looking at 886. I mean, you want an ABCD component. I really should do like just a singular ABCD session, because that is a just really fantastic way of being able to differentiate. Is it going to be an 886, 786? Well, where does the ABCD line up? I mean, A to B segment, 148 down to 76, come back up to 130, and then back down. And that puts you basically right where you did bottom at 55, 54 bucks. That's a minimum, though. I would say this. You could potentially say off the September low, this is a Gartley, which should be at a 786. So take a look. 786 lines up at around 57. That's a fairly interesting scenario, set of conditions. If we're connecting dots with the proper metrics, I think that's valid. That's a good one. That's avalanche, folks. My software is not generating, probably because it's not, probably not, there's probably a time issue. It is a little bit skewed. Like your X to B level here is a lot longer than B to D. We have some time constraints built in. But again, I'm looking. I don't think it's a bad idea to be looking. I really don't. But you want to see something develop with Ethereum and Bitcoin to support the larger money flow into this whole area. Otherwise, I don't think you can really expect anything than short reactions that should be captured. Let's say Luna, or let's say this one decided to pop, and they popped, 20 or 30%. I would think that would be about it. The 786 to the 886, it could go either way. Well, look, you always want to use, if you have a verifiable Gartley, which we do here in Avalanche, if you go off the September low, then you do want to look at the 786 because your ABCD converges where it needs to be. Also, check out the B point. All right, for Gartley is defined by the B point is at a 618 plus or minus 3%. That means we can go, it's 618 is the number we're looking for. We can go 588 or 648 on the downside. Now, that would pivot us over to look at a 786 D as long as A to B matched it up, C to D in the same vicinity, which it does, around 54.70. Your 786 is basically 55 and change. What's the number? The number is under 55, 55, 54, something like that, and it is stabilizing there. But you could be looking at something like this. Reaction up to your 382, which would be great, up to 90 bucks, take it. But don't be surprised if this thing comes back down for the retest before doing something much larger. That's just the relative position of where a lot of these are. Luna being the case example of why we want to handle type 1, type 2 reaction reversal positions. That Luna, that was, look, that ended up being, it was a great trade, initial trade on, and then it went higher where it was tough to watch, and I just said, hey, I got to let this thing go. But once it started to break down and came all the way back down, we knew targeting 54, and even at 54 I said, look, the rest of the market was falling apart. So just be careful on that. And it gave a secondary test. I mean, it's not the best, but you go to Luna, that was pointing lower. Still needs more time. I think those still need more time, and some of the ones that people were freaking out about. Here's that LRC, folks. And this is a talk about, prime examples of the altcoin mania that is now back to resetting 886s. It's like this. Huge thrust up. Now let's just trace out, connect dots. X to A, B point's at a 46, 47%. C point 886. So we go to the 886 back down here. Again, for LRC, it's about 61, 62 cents. Maybe this X point should be at a better spot. I mean, I could go off of that low, or I could say let's keep it really tight. Symmetry-wise, that's actually better. I think that's the tighter harmonic structure right there, with your B point being basically a 50 on the dot. That helps you to know, all right, that's probably the right number if you're going to manually draw. So LRC, and we talked about this one, that once it did its pop up and then rolled down, violated its 382. Yeah, we look for that. Now you have it, and you have confirmation, and come on. This is the area where we want to look for stuff like this. And this is probably the prime example for a 382 bounce, folks. Up to 195. That's the thought I've had since December on a lot of these. Some did work out. Most of them didn't ever materialize because Bitcoin and Ethereum didn't do the explosive moves. But I was, and I still am thinking that if Bitcoin can at least hold its head, Ethereum can hold its head, even if those go sideways. Altcoins like this one can do beautiful 886 to a 382 type 1 reaction move from 85, 90 cents to $2 over the course of the spring into the spring. That's the kind of thing I really feel that those are your trading opportunities. As I said, I'm not a hodler, I'm a trader. I'll trade the crypto. I'll hold for a while. I'll hold stuff for months. I have. But, now where we are, again, I think you can't trap the capital. You get your capital trapped and you get caught in a drawdown. That can lead to problems. Been there, done that. Don't like to trap the capital. Keep the capital free and flying. Scott, do you think the Russia-Ukraine will become a black swan event? Boy, there's so many news items that I don't think I should comment on anything. I think we should continue to look for the patterns. And I think something like a potential news item like that could get Bitcoin where it needs to be the big opportunity to get it on sale, as we talked about last week, that we've mentioned. My super low objective Bitcoin, if there was some kind of meltdown, which we could still continue to be. Again, I'm still looking 31.6, 31,600, and then 22.5. But treating that as a larger zone, as a capitulation zone. For now, I'm just looking for opportunities. I think we got oversold, really oversold. If it was going to do its dump, it should have done it. Should have really done it last week. It didn't. Bitcoin hit the 886. So you're going to get natural reaction. That's how it works. That's the other consideration. When you have a number like the 886 off of such an important swing, it's a process. And so even the mini bounce, the micro bounce, if you will, meaning go from there and you come all the way back down to exactly to your 886. I mean, bang, right there, 886. Get out of town. I mean, right on it. That usually gives you a minimum 236 to 41.5, or if you're really sizing it up, I don't think you're going to a 382 move, but some kind of 382 move would be much higher into the 40,000s. I think it's a 236, and then you just continue to go sideways, and you trade sideways and back down. But hey, wouldn't that be great? Then come down and do the flush out of the prior low, just structurally. That would set it up. Remember, the last 2 or 3 bottoms, major lows, all came after capitulations in Bitcoin. You almost need it. And that's after a minimum 50% correction. So a lot of the guys, a lot of the influencers are saying, okay, yeah, 50% correction in Bitcoin happens all the time. All right, but how do we know it doesn't go to 80? Personally, I think it'll be where the capitulation happens. And you could have something that's a tight, super tight XAB kind of jump, retest, shake out, and go. That would be nice. That would be nice. Couple more, folks. The daily Gartley on AVAX, we did. We just looked at Avalanche. Again, yes. Welcome Brazil. Love Brazil. My wife is from Brazil, so welcome Brazil. Oi, tudo bem? Tudo. We're gonna get down there. We're gonna get the HT Brazil up and running. Couple more. You know what? The other one that I did want to share, which is something I'm in. I'll show 2 of the ones. I've got longer positions here, but I did get into this Brave token on the 4-hour on the retest back. Now I'm sucking wind on this, but where'd it go? Down at the hop levels. Where was this? Yeah. I think it was down at this 87 level. Off of that hop. Maybe at 93 where I was looking at this, and it dropped as low as 68. But this is another one where I think this BAT is got all the patterns you want to see coming up in a nice reaction where I think you're still early in the move. You're only 85, but come back 96 on this reaction minimum. But I think as high as 115. That was one, and then the other one was where is it? Ren? Yeah. Yeah, did a big deep crab. There's several of these deep crabs that have been forming in a bunch of the coins. I think Cardano had that. Hold on, one quick. Here's Cardano on a 4-hour or the hourly. There was something down there on Cardano. Yeah, there you go. Cardano had this crazy throwdown move. It went to 160 and then got thrown down almost 50%. That's nuts. But that throwdown move is currently your support level with the hop at 90 cents. That was your capitulation low. Your XA is 107. You're trading 105, folks, and then you just form this little other pattern at basically 101. I think anywhere around $1 for Cardano. But that was another one. Someone just posted, what about Cardano? This is another one where, okay, look there for target 1 at 126. If you can get out of the zone. If you don't and you go sideways for another, I don't know, 5 days or whatever, then scratch it out. But this is the kind of situation many of the alts are in. Washed out. correction. They're due for just a type 1 reactive bounce. We'll have to look at this, come back to that on tomorrow, see where these go. I would say something's up. Something is up. True, yes. It's another comment about a group, making a group for Philippines. Yes. Huge group of harmonic traders in the Philippines. So I think I'm going to put together, no, I think I am putting together a group. I think I found the one first person I really want to work with. And there's probably other people I would like to have contribute. So if you're in the Philippines and you want to be a part of that group, just connect with me. This will be something we'll roll out in the next few weeks. It's really good to do those regional groups because other people can communicate with the local traders better than I can. They know the local markets and then get the right methodology out there. So stay tuned, and again, there'll be an announcement on that. So more to come. Get with folks. Go over to harmonictrader.com. Get with the software. I think that's the thing we want to do with all these groups. Encourage the folks to get with the software because you're going to be doing the structures properly, which has to happen to get the whole thing right. That's how we know right now. For example, this Cardano situation, because we have the right pattern and everything, we know we have a shot at a type 1 reaction up to 126. Am I going to say Cardano to the moon, it's going to $10? No, that's done. But Cardano type 1 reaction, yes, I like it. Up to target 1, maybe target 2 if you get a nice strong move, sure, but that would about be it. And we'll see if we can find a few more of these on tomorrow. That's what I have, folks. Again, thanks. Get with basic members, basic membership. Get with all the books for free, software trial for free, Discord group. And then gold members, we had our session on Saturday. And then next Monday, we'll be starting new gold members. And we'll be doing on a Monday session for gold members. So more information on that later this week. Until then, come on back tomorrow, 11:30 or so. Thanks, folks. Appreciate everybody coming out today, and we'll catch you tomorrow, 12:30. Thanks again. Have a good one. Go get 'em.